Okay, so the entire brewing process starts in the field with barley. Barley is grown just like any other grain in the field, but it's not malt yet. So our barley is grown in eastern Montana and it's sent to the maltster in Great Falls. Now the maltster's job is to convert that barley from the field into malt that's usable by the brewer. And that process happens, they steep it, so they add water to it, increase the moisture content, trick it into thinking that it's going to grow. When that kernel of barley thinks it's going to grow, it's going to produce a bunch of starches because it's going to have a plant, and it thinks that it's going to have a plant. So it produces all the starches for food to feed that plant. Once all those starches are produced, then they heat it up and it stops that germination process. So now you have malted barley. That malted barley is packed with starches, and it's not just barley anymore. It's malted barley that brewers are going to use to produce sugars in the brew house. So we receive that malted barley at a brewery, and we want access to those starches. We run it through a mill that just cracks it open and exposes all of that starch inside, so now it's exposed, and that's our grist. We use different types of malt to create different colors in the beer. So you're going to use caramel malts, roasted malts, chocolate malts, things like that to create a malty profile in your beer. The longer you roast those malts, the darker they're going to become. So then you can use black malt to make a stout. You can use roasted barley to make porters, things like that.
We also use specialty grains, which is barley for the most part, but they do different things to get all kinds of different flavor and aroma compounds. For example, they can take some of that two-row barley and put it in a coffee roasting drum, and boom, you have roasted barley or chocolate malt, which doesn't have chocolate in it, it just tastes and resembles chocolate. Or they can take that grain and put it in a kiln, and the sugars will caramelize, and then you get different levels of caramel malt. So those are just some examples of specialty malts that help you develop different beers on the malt side. And so if we were making a stout, we would definitely have roasted barley, maybe some chocolate malt. It's what's going to give it that roasty, acrid, dark, chocolatey coffee flavor and notes. That would be very different from an IPA where you might use just your two-row malt and some caramel malt to give it a hint of caramel-like sweetness.